Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about something I saw this past weekend. I got to watch Hybrid Theory, the Linkin Park tribute band, play live in Sydney at the Metro Theatre. And what an experience. Now, to understand where I stand with Linkin Park and where I stand with their music, you have to understand, I did a previous video on this which you can watch, but I recently got back into Linkin Park. It wasn't something I had listened to over the years and kept going back to and whatever. I did obviously keep going back to Meteora and Hybrid Theory throughout the years, but I've only recently with the announcement got really back into their music. And with Linkin Park, I am one of the fans who fell off during high school. I'm one of the fans who dropped off, and the new style after about Meteora didn't really suit me. But at the time, I was going through different phases. I was a teenager, you know. I was obviously still learning the world. And then as you get older, you start to appreciate that music, that's Hybrid Theory and Meteora. You start to appreciate what's there with Crawling and so on. But getting back into Linkin Park, I did not get to see the original Linkin Park. Or people say it's not the original, there was many versions of that. Yeah, but the one everyone knows is Linkin Park with Chester. That's not available anymore. Chester has left us, you know. Chester is no longer with us. And you might say he's in spirit. Yes, he is in spirit with a lot of Linkin Park fans, but we lost that part of music. And you have to look at it now as like, okay, I'm of the age where I could have went and seen Linkin Park play live, but as I said, I fell off after a certain point. The music they were making at the time wasn't for me. I was very much into like rap music, and I went through a phase of rap music primarily. And then you see it come around, and it's like you start getting back into the stuff, the old is new. You get back into the Marilyn Mansons and the Korn, and I've always listened to Korn and Limp Bizkit. They stayed throughout. They're probably my two favourite bands. But then, you know, I've recently discovered, like in 2020, I discovered Ozzy Osbourne's music, and I was listening to Ozzy here and there, but picking up an album and listening to it is a lot different to hearing, like, you know, Paranoid and all that. You know, you need to hear the whole album for context, Mr. Crowley and that. So there's artists I wish I could have seen live. I could have seen Ozzy live if I had started listening 5 years earlier. I could have seen Chester with Linkin Park live if I had started getting back into Linkin Park 10 years earlier. But that's not the case. And so when you look at where it is right now, I still want to see the new Linkin Park. I want to see it with Emily. I think it would be good to see Linkin Park with Emily. I think it would be good. I'm kind of enjoying her work, regardless of what the internet says about her. I am enjoying her work. I think she's doing good work in keeping the music alive. That said, when the internet looks at Linkin Park, the tribute band known as Hybrid Theory is considered the best tribute band in the world. And it's for good reason. The lead singer, Ivo Rosario, sounds just like Chester. It's almost eerie how much he sounds like Chester. And there are artists who do have that gift of sounding exactly like what's been lost. The one that comes immediately to mind is Mark Martel, who sounds so much like Freddie Mercury. There's so many people who sound like Michael Jackson. There's people who sound like Elvis, you know. There are so many people who try to sound and who do sound like what's been lost. But we did lose someone with Chester. And I'd have to say, watching Hybrid Theory, wow. These guys get it right. The guitar player on that band, he looks exactly like, I forget the guy in Linkin Park, they call him Phoenix, but the guy in Hybrid Theory looks just like Phoenix. Like, I was like, hold on one second, this is the guy from Linkin Park, isn't it? It's eerie. Even the guy who does the rap verses looks a bit like Mike Shinoda, you know? It's eerie, but it's also so good. And the pit went off behind me. I was at the front of the pit for the songs. I was at the front of the pit, and at the start it was really good. It started picking up, it started getting a bit rougher in the pit, and then after, in the end, it got so rough that I was like, okay, I need to like go to the back of the pit and go up the back because it got so rough. So by the time Faint came on, I was at the back of the Metro Theatre, and I was watching from there, because that's the thing, I can do pits to an extent, but when it gets a bit too rough, you know, you have to know your limits. So I think Hybrid Theory are a really good tribute band. I think they get it right. It is replacing what's been lost. Would I say they're the official Linkin Park? No. I mean, we still have a version of Linkin Park that doesn't even really feel like Linkin Park yet. They still have to release a few more albums to really get on that roll. And I do like what they did. From Zero was a really decent album. But they have to get on that roll. They need to put out a few more albums. We need to see consistency. We need to see good work from that. We need to see how Emily grows into the role over many years. I mean, Chester was with that group for what, 17, 18 years? You know, you have to look how it grows over time. But I will say, if you're thinking about going to see Hybrid Theory, just go and see them. Like, wow. I got to see Ivor Rosario walk past me going into the venue. It seems really cool. Seems like a cool guy. He was like, "Hey guys, I'm just going to walk through here." And I was like, "Yeah, hey Ivor, let's go through. No worries." But you know, I wasn't going to pester him for a photo or anything. But yeah, it's good to see tribute bands as something that does try to replace what you've lost. And while we have lost Chester, we know Chester's no longer with us. The next best thing is Hybrid Theory to hearing the sound, not so much the performance that Chester would have given. There's no one who can match Chester's performance, Chester's energy. There's no one who can match Chester. But to hear the sound and to hear someone get it so right and hear these songs played in the style that Chester would have played them, it is promising. And then, you know, if you want to go towards the new Linkin Park, the new version of Linkin Park, I'll call them Linkin Park 2.0 with Emily, that's available too. And here's the fun thing. You can still hear Chester's good work on those older albums. You can still hear Emily's new work on these new albums. You can hear From Zero before Chester even joined the band. You know, there's so many different versions. You can hear Fort Minor, which was Mike Shinoda's other band, you know. I was going to say Joe there, but I don't know. No, Joe wasn't in Fort Minor. But, you know, there are ways to experience the music, and it's all about music at the end of the day. Imagine if Linkin Park hadn't come back and there was no tribute bands. That music would have been lost. But keeping the music alive, tribute bands make sure that the next generation get to experience. Like, I went out into the foyer after the pit got a bit too rough. I had to sit out. I think I sat out one step closer. I went in and had a quick peek, but then I was like, I really need to have a drink because I was right down the front and it really takes it out of you. So I had to have a drink of water. I was just like, it's really draining me. And I'm a big dude. Like, I need water, you know? But yeah, I went out and I was talking to these kids out there, and I was like, oh, you know, I never got to see the original thing, and I wish I had bought a ticket and saw Chester with Linkin Park when he was there, and I wish I had got back into it 5 years earlier, you know. But then they were talking about, oh, you know, one of them said, you know, I'm 16 and I didn't get to even see Linkin Park or even have the chance to see Linkin Park, and I was just sitting there like, whoa, like these are new generation fans. And while I may have had a chance to see it but hadn't been into the music at the time, this is their chance to at least partly experience what it could have been like to be at a Linkin Park concert back in the day. It's a tough one, but I will say Hybrid Theory, amazing performance. You did great work in Sydney. If you guys ever watch this, just know Hybrid Theory, you are in my good graces. I will be at the next concert, and I will do the full pit next time. I will be healthy enough to go the full pit. I will get in better shape than I was. But yeah, it was a good concert, and I will say that Hybrid Theory were good. They were really, really good. I mean, I don't think they were going to replace Chester. I mean, it's not going to instantly say, oh, and for anyone wondering where I stand on that, Ivor Rosario shouldn't have replaced Chester in Linkin Park. That's where I stand on it. Just because out of respect, you don't want someone who necessarily... You don't want the official Linkin Park to just bring in a Chester... Someone who sounds like Chester, you know? And he's a really good guy. I mean, I think Ivo is really cool. I think he's got it right. He's got Hybrid Theory. Everyone understands that Hybrid Theory is a tribute, and he is trying to essentially help recover what was there to an extent and try to bring it to a generation who might not have got to see Chester and to hear what it might have sounded like. But then you also have the new Linkin Park there. And the best part is you can see both. I mean, I keep hearing rumours that Linkin Park may tour Australia next year. I mean, they've announced the world tour without any Australian dates, but there's conveniently a gap between February and April, which I'm like, are they trying to work out an Australian tour? but maybe they haven't got the dates sorted yet. I could see it happening, but I'm being hopeful that I can see the one with Emily. I'm hoping I can go and experience that music again. And then, you know, likewise, when Hybrid Theory tour again next time, I'll be at the next one. And, you know, so on. But I know you guys may have been wondering about Hybrid Theory. I know there's a lot of interest in Hybrid Theory. This is your cue to go and see Hybrid Theory. If you want to go and see Hybrid Theory, they are pretty respectful to the original, and even Ivo and the band did a song to Chester. I don't know if it's an official song. As I said, I'm still getting back into Linkin Park. I'm still trying to get across all their later albums. But yeah, Ivo did a song dedicated to Chester during the show, and it was nice. It was really nice. Everyone got into it. Everyone had their phones out. It was really nice to see. And I'm so grateful that we have tribute bands like Hybrid Theory who do it justice. And I'm also so grateful that we still have Linkin Park with us, that Mike Shinoda and Joe and the gang have all got it back together with Emily as the lead singer. And while I know the internet's not thrilled with Emily and so on, some people like her. I think she's got a unique style. I think she needs to grow. It may be the right choice. It may be the wrong choice. It may be whatever. I want to see how it plays out. I want to see how she grows into the role. I want to see her become more confident on stage with that band. And then we'll see some great stuff from her, I think. Regardless of her past and whatever you think about her allegiances, I think she was the right choice. And obviously, look, for all else, I trust Mike and Joe and the rest of the gang, Phoenix and so on. I trust all of them to get it right when they were choosing that stuff. I trust them. And if they chose Emily, I trust them that they made the right choice. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. I did a Linkin Park video that you can watch, and that's about when I got back into it. And yeah, let me know what you think, and catch you in the next one. Peace.